Everybody, Obey the Papaya, back at you again with another video. We got the early access patch version 0.15 finally released. Still not able to play due to the 24-hour update, but hey, let's get right in the notes, right? We got a ton to cover. So we'll go through the notes. I'll share my opinion at the end. And I'll share my opinion, of course, throughout. And yeah, let's get to it. So, introduction. Welcome to the final patch of the Season 3 Champions. The Mad Mage Argus emerges from the devs harnessing full force. You know, they said stuff. I want to skip some of this stuff. It's going to be a long video. So here, some of the new things. New explosive flowers have sprouted across the map, which combined with some major improvements to jungle AI and pathfinding means the battlefield is more dangerous than ever before. This patch also sees introduction of Amber, a brand new currency discussed before, and the implementation of an entirely rebuilt backend alongside initial improvements to matchmaking. Backend being the actual code base, like things that we physically do not see as the user, but may affect us in terms of getting a lot of number changes done, getting more content output to us. So the devs are super happy about it, and if it honestly makes the devs happy, I'm fine with it. Hopefully we can get stuff out of it. Let's see how it's gonna change things. That's still not all. Alongside the usual sweep of balance changes, we are also overhauled item descriptions to make them easier to understand, which will be seen below. So yeah, let's get straight to it. The new hero Argus appears. So we already got the ability overview if you guys are interested. I also went over the video as well myself. If you do want to take a look at that, it's on my YouTube channel. I may post it in the description. Hopefully I don't forget. But let's go through the abilities. So Disintegrate, which is the passive. Argus's abilities apply a stack of Disintegrate for 3 seconds, causing subsequent instances of ability damage to deal 2 plus 1.5% magical power bonus magical damage. This was basically what we were seeing, applying basically one damage per tick. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see too, because I swear I was seeing like one sometimes repeated. So each stack of Disintegrate deals 40% more damage, stacking infinitely. Oh, sorry, 2 magical damage. So it's based off magic power, causing subsequent instances of ability damage to deal 2 bonus magical damage. I swear I was seeing one. That's kind of interesting. I guess they buffed it towards the end. Each stack of Disintegrate deals 40% more damage, stacking infinitely, capped at 12 against jungle minions. Flux Bolt, that's a passive attack. That's just the passive attack. The BAT is the attack animation. So I think that's 1.4 seconds. I think, or is it supposed to be 0.4? Maybe from the animation timer. Range basic attack dealing 54 plus 60% bonus physical power. So we're probably not going to see anything that crazy, in terms of him being AD. Dread Nova being his primary ability. It's just basically a Decker. It's like a Decker stun, very similar. Cooldown wise, not too bad. 16 seconds, so it's kind of high. Ability haste is going to be big on him, which I'll discuss. I discussed some of the estimated builds. I actually like the alchemical rod, and we'll discuss that later once we get to the items. Cost is really cheap though, like very cheap. So that's kind of interesting to me. 60 for a stun and damage is actually pretty absurd. I would expect this to be like 80. I think that's actually what Mortgage might be, is stuck at 80 or it's stuck at 60. So that's basically the ball, and it does plus 60% magical power scaling. That's actually pretty big. Like that's a lot of damage, and it's AoE and hits multiple targets. It's a pretty nasty ability. So either crystal is a secondary. This is where he spawns this crystal. In the center, there's a little circle that can be used to knock only you and your allies up. So not enemies. And then it does damage and pulls them at the end. And once again, pretty low mana cost. Just overall, that's very, very cheap. Kind of a high CD, 14 seconds standard. Get like, you want to get like 30 ability haste. They'll cut you down close to 30%, but not exactly. But overall, it does 20, 30, 40 every 0.5 seconds. And it does 18% scaling, and it's able to slow them. I was seeing this, and it doesn't last long at all. So I actually think that being able to get pulls is going to be relatively easy for this character. I was actually worried about that. I'm like, oh, it's going to be really hard to pull. You probably have to put this down, then get a stun. No, I saw people just trying to walk out of it, getting pulled. So that's going to be pretty nasty of an ability. So I'm curious to see how it's going to be in game. Particle Shredder is an alternate ability, RMB for PC, and it just turns into a machine gun. Once you touch level 5 or max it out, it technically will last infinitely as long as you have the mana for it. And remember, this is all stacking on the passive. Once you hit these abilities, every ability you're gonna basically add 1, 2, 3 ticks of, every tick you're gonna add basically an extra damage line. Early game, late game, you might be adding 2, 3, plus per tick of damage. So for 3.5 seconds initially, and even the mana consumption here is really low. 8 in the beginning, 11, that's really low mana. With a 2-second CD when you have it infinitely, that sounds really strong. Like when you have a lot of CC going on, if you're caught out, you can't really use any of his abilities, sure. But that's kind of most mid laners. This guy's gonna be spamming this if you can position properly with him. This guy's a better Morgosh, a better Faye. That's kind of crazy. And overall scaling is 10% magic power. At late game, if you're talking about 300, you're gonna have extra 30 damage on top of this, so 80 damage per tick. Then you have your global ultimate, which we discuss later. Synaptic Obliterator right here. Like, look at this range. You gotta probably hit people from core from here, and it's not like you have to give that much of a lead. It's relatively quick. You have to give a lead, but it's pretty darn quick. And of course, people are just gonna run away, so it's gonna be very obvious to tell where they're gonna run away. Otherwise, you just sit there, make them go slower, and your teammates catch up. This is going to be wild. Relatively low cooldown too. I was hoping to probably see like a 150, honestly. I don't know. I feel like that the only thing you can really punish him is if you really punish his CDs a lot. But it doesn't look like we're really going to see that. And if you get like the 35 ability haste, this is going to be like a 60-second CD. You're going to have it every single fight late game. After a short delay, it channels it up to 8 seconds and throws 3 powerful terrain piercing of 5,000 units of distance. Apparently 1 unit is equal to 1 centimeter, according to the devs. I don't know how the heck you're supposed to calculate that in game, but it is what it is. Damage number, 30% magic power scaling, so it's not necessarily too crazy, but you're talking about late game, you could be easily doing like 250-ish, 200-ish damage per charge. And then here, increased by up to 2.25 times the based on target's missing HP, and it slows enemies for 60%. This is such a strong ultimate. That's crazy. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see how he is in game. The new soft currency, Amber, we already discussed it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but to simplify it, Amber is taking place the contracts for unlocking heroes, and soon Amber will be used to purchase some more things that's in the future. We have no idea on them. So we're not too sure about that. And then you can purchase more things with Amber in the future. Right now, Amber is strictly going to be used to purchase characters, purchase heroes. So if you have unlock stages on any character, you will get Amber reimbursed to you. So you're not going to miss out necessarily. This is also the new Amber cost, and you get Amber per level up. So it's just gonna be nicer. You don't have to target one person. You just play the game, and you can unlock anybody once you hit the Amber cost. And that's it. So we're basically looking at 8.6 plat per 10. Sorry, 8.6 amber per 1 plat. Did I do the math right? Yeah. So overall, think of it that way if you want to think a dollar's worth. And then here, Argus will be available at a slight discount. Will cost 8,600 amber on launch compared to the 10,320. All right, and I know with the season rewards, you'll also be getting amber for every level after 40. So level 50, 60, 70, you'll be getting, I think, 8,600 amber extra. So that's kind of nice for those that earned it. So if you unlocked Argus before the update using the old XP system, you'll have him fully unlocked. If you're partway unlocked, you'll be converted into amber. The converted amber will be added to your account as soon as it's live, so you'll still get, you'll get it. Store update. So we got the bundle here. It comes with a sticker, a banner, an icon, and his skin and the character. I don't know if it shows the cost. So pretty interesting skin. It looks cool. You get a little bit you do get red animations instead of green, which I'm a fan of. I may honestly look at purchasing the skin in case the game dies. I can at least experience a nice red color skin, my favorite color. We got a Crunch Corporate Enforcer skin, Twin Blast Double Agent skin, looks cool. Price changes to Faye, Bellic, and Twin Blast being lowered due to them being in the game longer. Um, so explosive flowers, the first gameplay mechanic we got changed since Primal. The Fae has been hard at work furthering the goals of Emerin, I assume her world, spreading a new form of explosive flower across the realm. The stage's resilient flora has taken root and infested in the land, able to regrow even after being destroyed. Explosive flowers have been added to the map. So it looks here is similar to League of Legends if you played it. If you hit it, you have a little bit of a timer, and then it would basically launch you. Super cool. I like the overall mechanic. It's something new in the game, and it's something worth that I'm excited to test. And I think it's pretty cool. I want to see how it is in game. I want to see how it is to destroy it, the timers. We'll get the timers, but to see how it actually feels. So here, initial spawn time is 4 minutes. The respawn, so at 4 minutes is when it spawns. Respawn time at 2 minutes 30 seconds. Spawn locations, both red jungles. It's next to where the tower and red are, like where red and tower, the red buff and the tower to behind it is kind of where one of the placements is. Then at blue jungle is where you saw it. The dual lane alcove, I don't know where that is exactly. Solo lane alcove, I'm not sure where that is. I don't know what the alcove is, so we'll find out once we get into the game. Jungle AI improvements. We're excited to share some significant improvements we made in the AI in the jungle. Unfortunately, no lanes though. Why are there no lanes? Why jungle? Why not the lane AI? Honestly, I was disappointed to see jungle AI more than lane AI. Absolutely. I really am. I'm actually frustrated. I still like it, but like, come on. Come on. AI in lane has been horrible, horrendous, terrible. The amount of farm that I missed and clearly wasn't my fault in my last hits. This needs to be fixed. But at least it's one step, closer. So clear aggro, fewer frustrations. One of the biggest frustrations for junglers, especially newer ones, was the unforgiving nature of minion aggro. Previously, minions would instantly de-aggro the moment they left the camp radius. This often led to situations where you felt unpunished for trying to maximize speed of your clear times. I didn't really find it that much of an issue. You just sit there and hit it. You'll honestly heal back what you would have saved by running around. Like, oh, you'll miss a little bit more HP. Again, in this casual game mode, trust me, it's not a big deal. No more, we've implemented a new aggression bar. This is actually pretty cool. Displayed beneath the health bar of the jungle minions. This bar depletes as minions move further away from the camp, giving you a clear visual indicator of how much leash you have before it loses aggro. This allows for more strategic minion manipulation, opening up the new possibilities for optimizing your jungle clears. Smarter pathfinding and more outplays. We spruced up the pathfinding of our jungle minions. They are now better at tracking champions and navigating the varied terrain of jungle, getting snagged on ledges and structures much less frequently. Better still, they can now even drop down ledges to pursue their prey, adding yet another layer of strategic depth. Wow. Imagine if I could have strategy in my freaking lane. Sorry, I'm a little frustrated, by the way. Knowing when to strike to further empower your jungle prowess, we've added a handy quality of life indicator in the jungle minion health bars. This indicator will let you know when your jungle item hunt is strong enough to finish it off. That's kind of nice. More strategic decision making. Raising the skill cap, lowering the barrier to entry. These two changes are designed to achieve a twofold goal. To increase the skill cap of the jungle role by introducing new strategic possibilities, to make the jungle more accessible to new players by providing clearer information and reducing the punishment for minor mistakes. I believe these improvements will make jungling not only more enjoyable, but also more rewarding for players of all skill levels. As with all things, we'll be reiterating on these changes based on your feedback, so hop in game, explore the new changes, and unleash your inner jungle master. Yeah, I would have liked to, focus on the lanes more. The 3 lanes compared to the 1 jungle. But it is what it is. Item description improvements. Item descriptions have received an overhaul. In keeping up with our previous improvements to hero ability description, item descriptions now support a much more digestible bullet point format. Actually, super nice. Really needed. I like this a lot. So just you're able to see the percent, the damage, estimated. I like it a lot. I am so down for this. I would still like to see some like quick damage stuff when it comes to your skills, like right above it, but that's a different story. But this is really good. This is on to the right direction. And I think due to the back end, this will make things easier. Automation, yeah, to automate like mismatch and inaccurate descriptions and whatnot. Probably part of the back end changes. So matchmaking and backend improvement. Version 0.15 comes with the unveiling of our brand new fully custom built backend. Super nice. Ever since the Predecessor was first released in early access, we've been working with a backend provider to handle all our game services, server scaling, and of course our matchmaking. While this was absolutely crucial, this is kind of just a lot of stuff. Basically, they made their own backend now. That's really nice. They're gonna be able to change and manipulate a lot of things a lot better. I, as an engineer who doesn't necessarily work directly with backends, but have had friends in it, working with friends that literally do the backend stuff. This sounds super good. If the backend users are happy, that's really good news because you don't want those guys to be sad. You want those guys to be happy. If they're happy, everyone's happy. So this is exciting seeing the backend being changed. And it's better. You know, the code base didn't seem to be so good on, you know, when they were first creating the game, and then they hired more people and all that stuff. This is one step into that, you know. And I know a lot of people are upset that we're not going to really see it, but I think this is a step in the right direction that hopefully, you know, it'll just be a better game in general. Like, that's all I can say. Hopefully it's just going to be a better game in general. So yeah, they're just talking about them saying it. Most significantly for many players, however, is that it also means it's finally time for a brand new matchmaker. That's it, the new matchmaker. I think we're getting the first iteration of our custom matchmaker rolls out alongside the new backend in version 0.15. So we're finally getting it. It's, you know, it should be better for speed and quality compared to the old system. I am not going to raise my hopes up. I will see when we're in game. I'm not expecting much. It's going to take some time, and hopefully, you know, we get better matchmaking, but it's still a small player base. I still expect matches to not be that great, but it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully it's good. But this is the first iteration of the matchmaker, so it's very nice. And then we'll discuss more about the back end in upcoming blogs. And the season rewards, I think, well, basically, to simplify it, we get they distribute them after the version 0.15. Like, next patch, we'll get the actual rewards for it, so that's pretty nice. So account leveling, they're gonna reset the account levels, and then every level you'll get some amber. That's your reward. And then on the way to level 30, there are a couple of even bigger amber drops plus a pair of new profile icons. That's kind of nice. Over the year, we'll be expanding the rewards available from leveling up, and they'll be retroactive. Very nice. Controller updates. So we got some controller updates. We've always explored new ways in which you can improve the user experience for the in-game shop version. So it's just an in-game shop controller thing. We've added the ability to navigate through sections of the in-game shop using the D-pad. If you are moving forward during a match, when you open the shop, auto run will be temporarily enabled, freeing you up to use a left stick to navigate the shop without slowing down. You'll have the exact same functionality as using the D-pad, giving you the freedom of choosing how you navigate the shop. When you navigate to your item section, you'll now be focused on your last purchased item by default. That's nice. So other improvements. It is now possible to mute teammate pings on scoreboard. I like it and I dislike it, but we have a lot of toxicity, so I'll allow it. New intro music will now play upon starting a match. Interesting. Added support for AMD fidelity. Super resolution. This is actually pretty cool. This was seems to be slept on. This is just gonna improve it for everyone. It's very minimal, like, graphic appearance, as I've been messing with the 3D resolution currently. This is just going to make it even better and give you good performance for everyone. Everyone gets to abuse this. So that's nice. Finally, hero changes. We're in the fucking... I can't say bad words. Ducking balances. Yes. Countess. Let's discuss this. I posted in the beginning of the video a summary of what I think is buffs and, you know, all that stuff. So Countess. Base mana increase from 350 to 370. Okay. Shadow Slip primary, magical power scaling increase from 30 to 35%. So her Q is getting a 5%, you know, based on this, it's what, a 15% buff? Her alternate ability, damage increase from 70 to 80. So it scales about 10 per, it's basically an extra 10 damage. The mana cost is also a flat 60 now. Kind of sucks. I kind of wish, I don't know. It kind of sucks in my opinion. Magical power scaling decreased from 65% to 60. So what it seems like is Blade Siphon damage got moved on to Shadow Slip damage. The dilemma with that, though, is Blade Siphon, right? This is going to help you when it comes to doing jungle camps. This is going to help you when it comes to laning against people and knowing how to use your RMB properly. It's very little, but every little bit counts. The amount of times I've survived at 1 HP with Countess, you know? So I'm a little disappointed. I would have liked to see cooldown changes on Countess personally. Once again, there's major bias with me. In higher tier play, she's punishable. In lower tier play, can carry you all the way to Masters if you have the skill. you know, and I think that one of the issues with her is her cooldown. I would like to see her cooldown reduction be or her cooldowns be lower. And then honestly, you could look at some damage nerfs if you actually make her very spammable. But I would also like to see her Q not be a lock on. I like that to be more of a skill based shot. Greystone. Greystone could gain additional passive stacks under certain conditions. This bug has now been resolved. They fixed his passive would basically block basic attacks and some projectiles. It's very confusing. I don't really know. I think it can even block like Shinbi Qs, for example. So before it used to block 2, now it doesn't. So I don't know. I don't know what the bug was, but nothing else was changed in his kit, and I'm extremely disappointed at that because I think he's one of the best characters in the game to carry, to do everything with. He's absolutely busted, absolutely broken, and we got literally nothing. So I'm very disappointed to see him not really changed. Iggy and Scorch got damage magical power scaling on his turret. So his turret will have 2% more magic power scaling. It sounds low, but remember, you can put 3 of these down. So, you know, when you think about it, I mean, it's still, he needs more in his kit, in my opinion. I think his turrets just need to shoot faster, lock on faster. It's the same thing with the real turrets, to be honest with you. But, you know, it is technically a buff, but I say it's a slight buff. I don't think this is going to make him a game changer or anything like that. So Kwang has been very disruptive in high elo play, and in general, he's a very strong character. I hear a lot of people say he's very weak. He's not weak. He's busted as hell. He is so strong. But let's talk about it. Kwang's general durability has failed to hit the mark, which is absolutely disgusting to hear, and this makes me question everything the balanced guy is doing. With them feeling like an immovable object in the early stages of the lane, but lacking in team fights in the late game. This is so wrong. I feel like it's honestly the opposite. This is where I'm questioning this. I feel like he's absolutely ridiculous with his durability, mainly due to how fast his passive comes, his RMB comes up to give him the shield. Alongside some general quality of life changes and stat tuning, we're now offering Kwang's Light of the Heavens ability some bonus health scaling on the shield to ensure it remains relevant as the match progresses. Absolutely hate this. I absolutely hate this. General base health regen was decreased. Base armor was decreased by 2, so not that big of a nerf, but making him more susceptible to getting damaged by people like Grux and whatnot, to physical damage. Base mana decreased by 20. Mana growth increased from 40 to 44. So overall he got, like, when you look at this, he got like kind of nerfed in terms of his armor and his sustain. Surge of Heavens, which is secondary, that's his E. Knock up height decreased by 20%. This sounds good. You're like, okay, technically that's less of a stun because a knock up is basically a stun. So that's nice. Stun duration decreased from 0.75 seconds to 0.65 seconds. That is so small that I doubt you'll really notice it. And I think it also has to, it's kind of adding up with that height decrease. So, you know, I wonder if it's done, if the stun is on knockup or after the knockup it applies a stun. That's what I'm a little curious about. But in reality, it's very minimal. His alternate, which is RMB, the shield is decreased from 70. So just in the beginning, it got so it goes from 70, 105, 140. So it's going up by like 30 per, 35 per. Now it's going up by 25 per. So that got a sizable nerf in terms of that. But yeah, so that got a sizable nerf. Shield magical power scaling increased from 45 to 50. So the more damage you're going to have, the more you're going to scale up to it. And then they added 8% bonus health scaling to the shield, which in my opinion is crazy. Because the best build on him is basically Fire Blossom, Flux Matrix. Like, you're building a ton of HP. World Breaker. You're just adding so much to that shield overall when it comes into late game. You know, when you're adding an extra, like, you know, 1500, 2000 bonus HP, that 8% is pretty big. You're easily talking, it's going over that 210 that it used to be, you know, and it's every 4 seconds you're getting it back. 4 seconds. I mean, he has so much sustain, he has so much damage already, and they're gonna apply the shield even more. This is why I think it's actually a buff to him, even, you know, with these overall nerfs. When it comes to the team fights, this guy's a monster, and he was a monster, and he's gonna remain a monster, if not worse. So Morgesh. Some quick mana adjustments to Morga should help limit her ability to bully people in off lane. They tuned the gravity of her hive ability making it feel more natural to throw at various angles. Take note though, the Hive's max range is roughly the same. Base mana was decreased by 40. Mana growth increased 38 to 42. The Hive projectile gravity was decreased by 15%, so it's more floaty. The projectile speed is decreased by 5%. So it's slower. I'm curious to see how it feels. That's it. It kind of feels like they're just nerfing her, and I think she's actually really underpowered right now. Not underpowered per se, just like kind of can't fit into comps well. Narbash, another shift away from the level scaling towards magical power for everyone's favorite orc. Better suiting a support profile that tends to gain less overall experience while also opening up opportunities to different skill orders, while also ensuring that he has to invest in magical power over tankier option if he wants to put out maximum healing. So armor growth was decreased. Wow, what a monumental change. So Song of My People, sorry, it was a 4.2 to 4. Not that crazy. That's the growth. So every level he's gonna get that much armor. Song of My People is a secondary. Magical power scaling increased from 8% to 9% for the heals. Healing per rhythm stack was decreased. So this is a nice nerf in terms of late game, to where the healing will be reduced and he has to build more magic power if you truly want more healing, which is worth it. I think a lot of the items, especially the mana items, just gave him so much. And he did need some healing nerf. So, you know, we have to build a little bit more magic power, which limits him a little bit. Now he can't build as much utility, or he can't build as much, utility or more heal add-ons. You know, you're going to get punished in a way. Phase. So Phase's link ability had an issue where swapping between allies too quickly would cause the cast to fail, severely impacting her play. Huge. And they did fix it. It's still, I doubt they're going to change actual button press logic and all that, because it still feels like absolute trash can using her. And they haven't done anything since the swap. I don't know why they didn't go back and revert to it, because it feels like crap compared to what it used to be, from my experience. Rampage. This is huge. I'm actually very happy with this. The previous round of balance adjustments to Rampage have effectively allowed him to reclaim his title as King of the Jungle. He was strong still, was just better to play Chimera and stuff and low elo, but they buffed him so hard and his burst damage on the initial engage is absolutely insane. So it's nice to see this adjusted. We're happy to see him make a reappearance. He can feel a tad too kingly. As a result, we're pulling back on some of the ultimate durability and uptime, which is honestly fine. I will take that, because that is punishment late game, and shaving off some of the newer damage he was granted. Yes. Rumble, his secondary, that's when it hits the ground, is getting a 5% reduction. You know, minimal, but honestly, it'll be worthwhile. And his ultimate is temporary health is decreased. This is actually really big. Late game, he was so hard to kill. He had an extra, 150 HP. I mean, it adds up with the bonuses on bonus HP and all that stuff. Getting rid of the 50, then up to the 150 into late game. This is going to be a pretty big deal. Cooldown decrease from 120 to 130, and even this early game can be a big deal too, So I like his overall changes into Rampage's kit. He's still gonna be able to burst a lot, but he, in late game and whatnot, he'll fall off a bit. So just don't let him snowball is what I can say. Revenant. So Revenant has fallen out of favor lately, probably as a result of his vulnerability in the early stages of a match, which one makes it difficult to effectively snowball, while granting him some further baseline durability and mana to give him a stronger overall presence. And then they fix some of the baseline, just ensure the magical damage dealers can remain a meaningful threat to him in lane. So health was decreased 635 to 620. Base physical armor increased from 24 to 28. That's a pretty big number change actually. Mana increased from 300 to 320, so he was able to spam that last Q. Yeah, this will help him at least with poking and whatnot, so that's pretty nice. Cause I'd say, but he also outputs so much damage, and his lock on his Q makes him very oppressive. So it's like a little bit weird to me. I think this was just kind of a low elo fix. So Richter's ability to dominate the dual lane and execute a target with a single well-timed hook, yes, it's always been an issue and should have been fixed much sooner, has led him to feeling oppressive in the role. To help combat this, we are decreasing his early damage output to make a single hook less likely to result in a kill. Alongside this, we are also targeting some additional scaling buffs and mana shifts to help Richter perform better in the off lane should he acquire a gold and experience advantage, while better rewarding him for dipping into magical itemization over a pure tank loadout. I wish this was true. I feel like it isn't. But general base mana was decreased. Nice. This sounds really nice and good, right? Base mana regen is decreased from 1.6 to 1.3. That's actually pretty sizable, so I'll take that. We'll see how it is in game. Shock therapy is primary. That's the silence. Damage was changed 65 to 60. That's a pretty nice change. I mean, I would honestly like to see it at 50. I really think that it shouldn't be that much with how oppressive his Q is, like being a silence. So I would have liked to see that change. Magic power scaling also just seems really high, and they buffed that. So I mean, late game he'll get stronger if he does get magic power. In off lane, this will be relatively good for him after the first item. Electrocute is secondary. Bonus health scaling increased from 7% to 8%. That's really weird because that just buffs this damage overall. If you just go tankier. They fixed a bug fix with the damage numbers, so at least we'll see how this was, because he was actually doing more damage than anticipated, which is absolutely insane, because I was wondering why the heck he was doing so much damage. And you know, even with that ability, I felt like that ability, I don't know too much about his E, but yeah, so this helps you know, get a grasp for it. And we're, you know, we'll see how it cooks. That's 20 damage off early game. Big deal, honestly. Will no longer go on cooldown if immediately interrupted at the start of animation. I dislike this. If it was canceled, it should be canceled. Can no longer be cast twice. It was a bug. You could cast it twice if you kept spamming the ability as it ended. A Riplash, which is his grab, damage decreased. So they only decreased just straight raw damage, but he still has percent max health scaling on this ability, which in my opinion is terrible. I don't know, like it doesn't sound right. You at least have to nerf it or like add something for more tank based stuff, because it's still very oppressive. It's a very strong ability. I don't think this is an overall. You will see the E this damage change though. Maybe we'll see if that is gonna change it. That bug, that's 20 HP, you know, and you're just getting 5. So like 20. Imagine like 25 HP gone, right? And then you're also getting a little bit decreased 15. So oh sorry, not here. 10. So you're getting like 35 damage, you know, saved. But like, I don't know. I still think this doesn't really change much. Also, the mana cost was decreased. So now like this 20 mana, that kind of makes sense, because now you can like throw like 3 Riplashes with his mana pool. You know, it sounds kind of, I don't know. I'm a little bit overall iffy with this change, but we'll see how it is in game. Score ultimate damage per instance is decreased, which is pretty nice. But then here, the magic power scaling is increased by 10%. This is a 20% buff. So like I don't like that at all, man, because he already does a ton of damage, and there's a lot of pretty decent like health. He already has a shield that goes on passively on top of him, and he already does so much damage, even with those damage nerfs at the late game. So I'm not very fond of this personally. But you know, the devs are the balance is the balance team. Balance of the balance team. So Seraph is receiving a handful of changes aimed at allowing her to perform better in the off lane. A few mana economy improvements, as well as a stronger level 16 spike with her ultimate, should better facilitate her late game threat. In return, Seraph's ability to reset her cooldowns with the takedown is taking a small hit to give her opponents a greater window to react before the chain kills her foes, which is true. I actually kind of found the reset being crazy. So that's a nice change. I haven't seen Seraph be as oppressive, but I know she's very punishing and low elo, because a lot of people don't know how to properly place themselves in the right position. Mana regen was increased. Fallen Grace passive. Cooldown refund decreased from 75 to 70%. So nice little change there for it. Damage changed. So sorry, Chastise, which is her R&B ability, her wings. Got a little bit of a buff. Early game, falls off late game. Oh, falls down a little bit late game, but the bonus power scaling is increased by 10%. So that's pretty big. So that makes up for it easily. Hearsay or ultimate cooldown is increased. So it used to only be 90. So now it goes to 110, 95, and 80. Bonus attack speed is crazy though. It goes from 20, 35, and to 50. That's huge bonus attack speed with her nearly 0 movement penalty. I am curious how this is going to affect her. This might bring her back a good amount. into late game. Being already a very strong late game character, this can make her very strong. Sparrow's actually getting some changes, a little bit of some buffs. Sparrow's receiving some general buffs that lean towards quality of life adjustments, such as her heightened senses cooldown now starting when the ability ends, no longer punishing her should she not maintain maximum uptime. Likewise, her ultimate is gaining some additional movement speed at the cost of some damage, better allowing her to kite or chase down her foes and thereby granting her some additional autonomy. So her basic attack, I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know like crap about Sparrow. I know she does a ton of damage though, and her movement speed boost really helps her lock you on her ultimate. So she got her basic attack's got a 5% increase. This puts her at Drongo. I think Drongo's at 85%. I think Murdoch's 95 or 90%. So she's basically gonna be doing Murdoch type of damage. You know, and when you crit with this, that's a big deal. Seeing that 5%. Crits are huge, right? Heightened senses, which is her E ability. I think that's the one that that just gives her the buff, makes her stronger. Her Q is the circle. Her RMB is a shot. This just gives her like an active buff. Attack speed is increased from 30 to 35 in the beginning, so just a 5% buff in general. Cooldown now occurs when the buff ends instead of when it gets stacked. Cooldown decreased from 20 to 12. This is actually huge. This is going to allow her to be very, you know, anytime you have, you know, a stun or whatnot, she is going to have it up, right? That's a big change, 45%-ish. Mana cost has changed to just straight 50 now. So I don't know what her mana is overall, but I'm sure that this, you know, this overall change on her secondary is going to be insane. To not even worry about that mana change. Did she get? Yeah, she didn't get any type of mana regen. So her ultimate movement speed is increased from 5% to 8%. That's absolutely absurd. So that's gonna make her basically moving the same speed as like a melee, as a Grux probably. Bonus physical power decreased from 10, 25, 40 to 10, 20, and 30. Okay, so that's not too bad. A little bit nerf in terms of that. Cooldown increased from 100 to 110, so just early game she can't have it spammable. Side arrow damage is increased though from 50, 60, 70 to 50, 65, so 15 damage instead of 10. That's pretty monstrous. So it's just the movement speed and her side arrows, but not too bad. She didn't really get like a major thing. The movement speed is still a big deal though. I'll be her escape, I guess. Wraith. So many people have been saying stuff about Wraith. Wraith is receiving another round of adjustments and further shifting him away from his reliance on experience and levels, instead pushing him further towards gold scaling as a carry. Likewise, Wraith's early damage and safety in the lane has taken a hit, meaning he has to work harder to secure a lead and rely more on his basic attacks and clever positioning to build pressure throughout the match and stay safe. Basic attack got buffed to 85%, same as Sparrow. They've buffed his basic attack from like 75% too, so he's gonna do more basic attack. His peekaboo, this is an interesting change. So his Q, which is a thing he shoots out, not his snipe, damage is decreased overall in the beginning. Bonus physical power scaling was also decreased. That's gonna hurt him overall. The mark max health damage changed from 5, like going up, to just straight raw 8%. Basically, if you hit the Q and then your RMB, you should do a lot more damage, you know, because that's max HP. That's just what your max HP is now, at 600, at 1,000. I mean, this is going to be pretty fat, you know, as you're going to level up your RMB first, not your Q first. And this might also make it where you don't even have to level this guy up second, right? So here, mark magical power scaling is increased. No one built magical power. I don't care. Slow change from 35% to 28%, 31%, 34%, so into late game more so it's going to matter. So this kind of like, yeah, this is a little bit weird because this would kind of bias me to not leveling this guy up, and we'll discuss it why. The secondary, this is why here. The percent physical penetration was changed from 8%, 10%, 12% to 6, 9, 12, 15, 18%. So you get a lot more pen into later game. But well, not later game, based on how you level it. This pen is so huge though. So this pen, like, you might want to level up your E now before you level up your Q, because your Q is just going to throw flat 8% buffs. This damage number here, I mean, Like it's good. It's good damage, but like God, that pen to late. Like if you get that, you know, everyone's level like 11, right? Like that's gonna be pretty monumental. I'm curious to see. I might test that out. As of course I don't know the number changes, but hey, that pen is pretty crazy. His alternate abilities. This is a sniper. Scaling change from 85% total physical to 120% bonus physical. Now you overall you would think this is a big nerf, but it's not really that big. It's a big nerf into early game, not much into late game. You know, because when you do the math on this, this is actually going to make you a little bit stronger early game. It gives you like an extra, I think it gives you an extra 8 physical power or 10 physical power. So in the beginning. So it's not really that big of a deal. It's not too bad. You know, this is just this 85% is just going to consider your levels, right? So, but this is 120% all your bonuses. Interested to see if people are still going to look into building pen though, like pen based items or more raw physical damage, which I think that you'll still see a lot of pen being built because he scales off pen. Magic power scaling was increased. Still not too much of a reason though to go mage in my opinion, or to go magic power with the rest of his kit. Damage changed from 50, 75, 100 to 95, 120, 145, 195. So scaling is practically very similar. You know, and only mega casa might be worth being, you know, added into this, right? Since it adds percent HP, so, or does stuff too, bonus percent HP, so it's good for tanks. So maybe only mega casa might be added to where it can affect this. That's it for the freaking character changes. Yeah, it's interesting. I still think that they did nothing that was very a big deal in this game. So I'm disappointed in the character changes. We'll go in detail after, but might as well put a little break in here as this long patch notes. Item changes. Eviscerator. Cooldown decreased from 90 seconds to 60 seconds. They just said it was what? Previous nerf was too aggressive and left it having too little uptime overall. I don't even think I've seen really anyone build that except for a Sparrow, to be honest with you. But we'll see how it is, because it's a strong item, but it's just that, you know, CC is king right now, and Pacifier is, Liberator is very strong, right? Icecorn Talons. Icecorn's low cooldown is to be used liberally by traversing the map or even pushing a wave. Time for a small increase. Honestly, should be boosted to like 60 seconds, because it is. It's way too common. It's way too big of a buff. And I hate that they can use it on objectives. Like, you just use it on objective, and then by the time you really get a fight off of it, you basically can have it up again. I think it should be buffed up more. Because it is honestly very strong. It's just, once again, the meta is biased towards like wanting to go cleanse, wanting to go more tanky. But it is a very strong item, and I think once that change is done, if it ever does happen, that this item will be very strong. Alchemical Rod. So Alchemical Rod takes slightly too long to stack up and come online. I agree with that. So we're bringing in this step with Soul Chalice, now gaining stacks at a 20% increased rate. Yes. Why didn't they do this sooner? Why they give physical power, you know, more? But font mana per stack increased from 4 to 5. Font kills required decreased from 100 to 80. That's gonna be really nice. So what's the math on that? That's 60. 14, 16 font kills, right? Font mana per stack. What does this font mean? Maybe I'm confusing this. What does font mean? I don't know, but honestly, 20% increased rate, I'll take it. That's what I want. So Soul Chalice, they're just kind of nerfing it in terms of the physical power and mana conversion from 2.5% to 2%. Honestly worth it, because it's a strong item. And this would be a nice sizable nerf to make it equal to Alchemical Rod. Why do they got to give everything the physical power, people, right? Why can't the magic power? Why can't the casters get anything good? But I'm very excited for Alchemical Rod. I've been kind of doing some tests with it, and I've been actually favoring it. So I wanna keep trying it out and seeing how I like it. And now this buff is gonna make it very nice, especially with Argus. I think Alchemical Rod is gonna be very good on Argus. Imperator, more crit damage, less raw power, better suited for carriers looking for big crits. So people like Revenant, Murdoch, you know, those guys have straight raw physical power damage. So this is really nice for them, and why Imperator is very strong. So they're adding an extra 5% to the total critical strike damage. That 5% is a big deal. That's on a crit. That's a big deal. That's a big number. So that's going to be huge. Onyxian Quiver. Quiver, despite being a valid option, especially against larger targets such as Rampage, or multi-shot can shotgun its entire spread at mid-range, and can sometimes feel underwhelming. It does. It feels very weak. They're basically looking at upping it right here, which is pretty nice. Multi-shot damage increased from 13 to 39 to 15 and 45. We'll see if it's going to be added. I think they're just better items than it is mainly it. This is like for people who can't aim. There's just better items, and I don't think this really changes too much. But Vanquisher here, Vanquisher's getting a physical penetration decrease from 12 to 10. It's a pretty small overall. I mean, it's like what? It's like a 15-ish% nerf, but it's still, it's still very strong. It's the only one that gives you crit and physical pen, and very strong damage. In reality, I think they should get rid of the. I'm like borderline if they should get rid of the crit on it, but I don't know. Dread can act too strong as a direct counter to magical assassination due to its upfront mitigation, and it is very strong. So their magic armor is increased from 30 to 35. The Scourge bonus physical power decreased from 20 to 15. I don't know too much about the Scourge, so I can't. I don't build this that much. Even on my Fang Mao mid, I don't really look into this too much. I should though. Sinister Shield, which I think the damage reduction. This is the important part of it. You get like damage reduction from 25 to 20%. That's actually pretty sizable. That's a 20% nerf. Echelon Cloak. Some additional attack speed for the cloak to make it a juicier pickup for those looking to linger in the shadows. The attack speed increased from 15 to 20%. I still don't think it's that worth it an item. There's just better items to get. It's a very troll item. This is a pretty big deal though for Infernum though. Infernum is gaining some physical pen to give it a better cross synergy with other assassin items, as well as these assassins with flat penetration scaling in their kit, in exchange for less raw stats elsewhere. This is going to be pretty insane for Twin Blast, people like him. So physical power was decreased, and it had really high physical power actually. Ability haste was decreased from 20 to 15, not that big of an overall deal, 25%. 6 physical pen added though. That changes everything up. That is actually huge. It might be an item that you could like buy into like a first or second item. That is absolutely insane. So and it's just a honed Chris, which is so cheap to build, and it gives you so much. So that's pretty insane. I don't know. This is gonna be a problem. Mind Razor, a small increase in physical power offset the decrease in the mana. I dislike this. It should be nerfed. Mind Razor does so much. Like it's such a strong item. Better incentivizing completion of the item rather than sitting on Soul Chalice for. It's a good item to complete immediately, to be honest with you. It provides you AoE damage on minions, allows for faster clear. It's a ridiculous item. I think it's overkitted. Physical power increased from 40 to 45. Potent font mana. The physical power conversion is decreased. That was labeled above. At least I guess I don't know. I don't know. This is weird to me. Painweaver. Physical pen is lump sums can risk contributing into an overly fast time to kill, and similarly to Vanquisher, Painweaver is seeing a shift away from the raw power as a result. In return, we are pushing its additional movement speed back to the healthier middle ground, better defining it as a mobility option for heroes that seek it. Splice. Physical penetration per stack decreased from 3 to 2. Splice movement speed per stack increased from 2 to 2.5%. So you're getting more movement speed, you're getting the penetration decrease, which is nice. It's pretty relatively easy to stack up Painweaver though, even on people like Fang Mao and whatnot. So that's kind of where Painweaver is just so ridiculously strong, and you get movement speed. I mean, it's pretty nasty of an ability for assassins. So, I don't think the movement speed really was needed. I think this could have been fine. I find it always interesting that the devs always try to kind of like take one thing but add into another, and I'm like, why? Just take that off and see how it plays. Whatever. Perforator. As with Infernum, Perf's also receiving some flat physical pen to better synergize with assassins. Oh my god, bro. Twin Blast is back. He's as if he's not already a problem. Better differentiating it from Demolisher. Once again, though, this comes with a trade-off of raw efficacy. Across its other stats, physical power was decreased. Boo-hoo. 6 pen was added. Ability haste is decreased. Oh my god, dude. You still get ability haste from everything else. Because it's what do you call it? as you get more, it doesn't matter as much because it has a logarithmic curve. I'm an engineer or something like that. Puncture armor penetration decreased from 30 to 28%. It just makes this more of a squishy annihilator. This is gonna buff TB so much, man. Oh my lord, I hate this. I dislike this already. Basilisk. In the spirit of further mitigating some of the ability haste creep present in the item system, Basilisk is also seeing a nerf to the haste it offers. The item already stands as a staple for many bruisers and has served as a must-buy for so many, so providing a lower stat line will better help other items and build to compete for the slot. Ability haste was decreased. That's not gonna get rid of the freaking penetration shred that it gives you, buddy. The penetration pen is so busted in this game. Oh my god, ability haste. I'm losing my mind as I'm reading these patch notes right now. This is so much to read, so bear with me. For whoever stays. Berserker's Axe. Axe's blitz damage shifting. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know like crap about this item. I've never looked at building this item because they're just better. Yeah, sure, it can work, but better allowing it to scale more naturally throughout a match for a variety of users, especially in cases where the items without health may be bought alongside it. Blitz damage decreased from 50 to 40. Okay. Blitz scaling changed from 7% bonus to 3% max. That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal. That's a buff just from basic math. And it keeps it relatively fine, but this just helps it on everyone. This makes it stronger on squishies. So that's still a big deal. Rip squishies. Don't know what overall this does though, so all I know is rip squishies. Bone Saw fixed a bug where Colossal Sunderer's on-hit damage was not being reduced correctly by hero on-hit modifiers. Huh. Reduced as it comes off the stacks. A lot of bugs on these items, devs. Draconum. Despite its general strength, Draconum struggles to find its spot in many builds. You just said it's general strength. Why do you mean? Why does it need to find a spot in many builds? Man, increasing the health effective surge will provide greater synergy for heroes with inherent healing, such as Rampage and Chimera. Why not? What's his name? Grux. Also, while providing a clear use case for the types of heroes that should consider throwing into their builds. Surge healing per stack increased from 2% to 2.5%. Flow healing, so not bad in terms of stacks. How much can you stack this up to though? Flow healing on takedown scaling increased from 100. That's pretty big. This is a takedown healing. That's not bad for takedowns at all. Granted, you gotta get the takedown, so you have to be pretty dang. You have to know that you're gonna get the kill when you build this item. You have to be very aggressive and very smart. Mutilator. Mutilator's ability to serve as an anti-tank option tends to fall short when compared to the strength of opposing tank options such as Fire Blossom and Tainted Guard. An increase in ability damage has been granted, allow ability-based bruisers to keep pace with tanks without the need of Basilisk. Mutilate ability max health damage increased from 2%. Why wouldn't you just get Basilisk too? Basilisk is such a busted item, man. They don't understand that percent pen is ridiculous. Especially Shred. Since that applies to your entire team. Oh man, this is strong too. It's a 50% buff. And it's strong. Max health damage. Oh my lord. Overlord, some additional physical power and AoE damage has been granted. Overlord, what is this, man? I feel like they're just buffing these, like, physical power was increased. The health was decreased. Colossal Cleave max health scaling is increased. They love tanks. They love tanks so much. Tainted Blade, or Bruisers. Tanks, Bruisers. Tainted Blade, more damage, less bulk. This is actually needed. Tainted Blade has been slow. Physical power increased from 40 to 45. Health decreased. Why do you lower the health? I don't know. That kind of hurts. I think you could have kept it. Like, this is what I'm saying. They do something, they change something else. I don't know why. Keep the health on it. I don't know why they add a little bit there and take away a little bit there. It wasn't built much. Force people to build it in a way. I mean, it's needed, but you can just go tanky. Why build Tainted Blade? Even on Assassins. Just force your tanks to get it. Unless you got Kalari, Fang Mao, and Countersoul on your team. Then your ADC and support, I guess. Azure Core, same as Alchemical Rod, more stacks per mana. Yay. So it's nothing special. They just probably messed up their code base of automatically getting this information. And they're like, ah, crap, we just copied it. Put some text here to, just to make it look better. Magnify. Well, Magnify struggles to find, yeah, because Magnify was garbage and was almost made useful for, what's his face? But, whatever. Magical power increased from 60 to 65. I still don't think it works too well on Kwong. It's good, but, like, there's better items. Tank meta. Sustain. Mega Cost. Mega Cost, much like Basilisk for fighters, has been a staple for many mages. Yes, and you heard it. Reducing its ability haste. Oh yeah, I remember reading this. This is disappointing. Cost is decreased. Sounds good on paper, right? And then magic power increased. Sounds good, but they lowered the ability haste. Why do they do this? I don't know why they did that. I mean, it's a necessity on an item, but I want more. I want skills to be more spammable. When you have freaking melees casting more than actual casters, in my opinion, that hurts the game. My opinion. Oathkeeper. Oathkeeper possessing 25 ability haste made it too strong for a standalone haste stick. When combined with its already strong damage profile, once again we're shifting its profile. This hurts people like this. This benefited people like Kwong, to be honest with you. It didn't really benefit too much of anyone else, which really sucks. But magical power increased from 70 to 75, and then the haste was decreased 25 to 20. Very minimal, but still strong for Kwong, honestly. Just get two. You usually get 2 haste items, so like it doesn't really matter. And since it's logarithmic, like it doesn't. It's not a big deal because I think haste in a way is they do give a lot of haste on items. I guess since you only are given 5 items. Wraith Leggings. The movement speed granted by Wraith Leggings was too much. There's another thing. Spectra movement speed was decreased from 80 to 60, which I absolutely hate. I don't know why they had the need that they wanted to do this for mages when melee movement speed is absolutely ridiculous and they haven't done anything about it. Why are you punishing the casters first when it's still very easy to catch up? Oh my god. Someone subscribed to me and scared the crap out of me. Thank you, Wing, for subscribing to me. I'm recording this. That scared the crap out of me. This is a lot of work, man. I didn't think reading patch notes. For anyone still watching, I'm drained right now. I need some water. God, man, this is wild. But Wraith Leggings, insane. Like I don't know. You might have not even actually seen this up. I forgot. I think I disabled it for the recording. Nonetheless, Spectra movement speed was decreased. Unfortunate. I hate this. I actually am upset about this. Requiem struggles to keep up in stat line compared to enchanter items and is being granted some additional magic power to upgrade from Hollowed Braid. But they don't really have any support mid laners, so I'd say this strictly stays on to supports. Like, I think they're trying to say they want to make it more for enchanters. We don't like, I guess you have like Decker, and then this would give, I think that's kind of it in terms of like real true burst damage in the support lane. Windcaller is another option that struggles to compete with the likes of Wellspring. The bump in magical power is once again offered. This might benefit people like Narbash. Narbash got that change in his kit. But I don't think he really builds this. So, the magic power is going to help him. So that's probably what this increase is, to try to bias it to him. Elefrost struggles to offer enough upfront damage to justify its purchase as a first buy. They wanted to make this a first buy? Why? Armor was increased. Frostblade damage increased from 25 to 40. Frostblade bonus health scaling was decreased. I don't know. Does that really make it sound more better to buy? This damage number is pretty nice. But Fire Blossom's so overpowered, devs. Why not fix your freaking original items that just keep scaling up and scaling up with CC? Dumb. Tainted Guard cost increase from 2850 to 2950. Worthwhile. I mean, it's relatively cheap for one of the biggest items in the game. Boom, that's it for these patch notes. We can go off the bug fixes. This is so many bug fixes. I'm kind of beat up, man. Y'all can check out these bug fixes. I'm beat up. This feels like, okay, let's just talk about the patch, all right? Let's just talk about the patch while it's already been like 40 minutes of recording or something. All right, let's get to it. Conclusion for anyone that skipped directly to the conclusion. Um, let's just go through it. Argus looks cool, looks interesting, kind of looks a little OP for people that know how to position properly. That's kind of what it is. The soft currency is a cool, nice addition. The skins. I mean, I don't care about skins. Whatever. Explosive flowers, actual cool, interesting mechanic, but how useful is it gonna actually be? I like this for things like Prime, but once again, I'd rather just have a hole in the wall that I could physically walk through instead. I like to actually bias the opening a lot more. That's not gonna. That's what I'm worried of. What if like you barely hit it? Look at that. Like he got biased to the left a little bit more. He was going and he got hit to the left a little bit more. I don't like that, and that's what kind of worries me a little bit. What if you miss with all of your guys on top of it or something? I don't know. I'm so worried about it because that wall is not generous. It is not a generous wall. All I want to say. Jungle AI improvements, cool, but should have been prioritized on laning. But that's what happens, I guess, when you have a dev team more so biased towards jungle, I guess. I think this should have been much more better to focus on laning phase because laning is huge. Laning is the game. Like jungle is cool, but you just kill the minions and you leave. Plus jungle is so squishy, it's not a big deal late game. Like I dislike that. I dislike their priority on that. Item description, super cool, super necessary. Y'all heard me. Matchmaking, backend improvements. I love the backend improvements. I'm glad that the backend devs and all that are happy about it. Hopefully, it truly helps the dev team. Matchmaking is solid in terms of the change. Is really nice. I want to see that. I'm not expecting too much though. I would say do not expect too much from the matchmaking. I feel like the devs have always promised stuff and it's always been very underwhelming. So at least for the first iteration, I would not be surprised if nothing has changed. Hopefully something has though. End of season rewards, cool. It's skins and all that crap. I don't care. Account level, it's whatever to me. Controller updates, I hope it's good for you controller players. I'm super happy for the super resolution. That's super interesting for me. Hero changes, trash. I think this was actually just as bad of a balance patch. Nothing. I don't know. I didn't like it. Nothing was too crazy for me to be excited about. Not even Steel was changed. Not even Steel's kit was changed at all. Not even like direct items were changed from him. So he's not even indirectly nerfed. I'm disappointed in that. I'm excited for the overall patch, but I'm disappointed in balance as usual. I don't know what they're trying to prioritize here. I'm just, their balance in my opinion. Sure, the game can be balanced for some people, but it's just, there's issues with it that are just very noticeable as a higher level player, and I'm just upset about it. It feels like they just don't know what the heck to do at balance. I really don't. I don't know who the hell is balancing it. It's like they're not paying attention. Bellica didn't get a single nerf or change into her kit. Soul Reaper uninstalled. He's gone now. No, I don't know. I don't know what Soul Reaper did. I just heard a rumor that he uninstalled. But like a lot of stuff, like they didn't do things that I literally thought were issues, you know. And either you nerf Bellica, for example, honestly, you get rid of the lock on, or you buff casters, because casters, in my opinion, are there's nothing special about them. You can literally go at ADC, or you could go Fang Mount, and that would honestly be better than majority of casters right now in lane. And I've shown it, and I've proven that I proved it. So I'm disappointed by that. Item changes, nothing catches my eye too much. I like to see like a chemical rod buff. That's super nice, but nothing is too crazy. They're bringing back basically the cringe Twin Blast build, which I really hate because this is literally all it's benefiting is Twin Blast, basically. Maybe a little bit of Revenant, but this is what it looks like with the Mind Razor and with all the changes, Perforator and Infernum. Like those are for those characters, you know. And I mean, still gonna make Fang Mao really strong. Still gonna make Kalari really strong, honestly. And I'm disappointed by that because I think those characters are very skillless. They don't require skill, they require knowledge. That's the difference between like the Kalari. She doesn't require skill, she requires knowledge. Play the game enough, you can do really well with her. From that point on, like it's gonna be just, you know, if then you become really skilled, you're gonna dominate with her. Kalari is an absolute disgusting monster, and this is gonna buff her up.
it's gonna buff Twin Blast up. I'm not very excited about the coming item changes overall. So that's super, in my opinion, super unfortunate. Here I'll go over the bug fixes just to kind of, if you want to pause and read them. But that's it. So that's my overall view on the patch. It's a big patch. I'm excited for some things, disappointed in others. You know, hopefully we actually get some really more meaningful patches. I don't know. Like, this is a step, but for 6 months plus all the stuff they had to include on the roadmap. Oh, Meta, you're sleeping. You're either sleeping or you don't have a team. You don't have like a good team and you're just really far behind. Hopefully y'all can step it up. That's all I can say. Like, it still feels very slow. It feels ridiculously slow. And more really needs to be done. And I think that this game shouldn't be released right now. I think this game should have been, if it got released right now, that's a different story. But if it got, since it got released a year and 3 months ago, I don't know. It's gonna be tough, but all right. Let me know what you guys think of this video. It was a long video, so for anyone who stayed, I appreciate you taking the time. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, good luck on your games. Hopefully the patch is enjoyable for you. Try out the Argus support, and I'll catch y'all later.